Yo, what is up guys, it's your boy Shieldcoomer aka Sirigath, and in this video we are going to be covering Neltharus on a key level 20. The week is Fortified, Entangling and Bolstering, and also I finally have my 4 set and I have equipped it for this key. So now you guys are going to be seeing those lovely instant radiances, and also that beautiful increase in atonement duration, and also the increased damage from the Shadow Word Pain. So I want to use this video a little bit to discuss just how big this 4 set is for us in M+. Obviously I'm not going to be talking about the raid here because first of all, I mean, it's an M+ video, and second of all, I'm not playing this in the raid right now. Holy is just at the moment like a little bit easier to play and also better in a lot of ways, so surprisingly this doesn't really see much raiding at the moment. I mean, you can raid with it, it's not unusable, it's just Holy is like a little bit better. So right, let's get to it. Okay, so basically the way it works is you just get like a flat increase on your radiance healing and your Shadow Word pain. So that's just like flat increase that doesn't really change much. But one important thing that does change is that your radiances, when they proc, they cost 50% less mana, and also perhaps even more importantly, they are instant cast. So when this is important is, well, I would say like mainly on like segments where there is a big burst of like sort of like instant damage that you also perhaps have to like move for or something like that, where you just can like get insane value from your instant casts like that. And it just like, it really is, guys, it really is a game changer. It is, oof, it's so good, guys, it really is. Everything about this 4 set is just beautiful to see in keys. So not only do you get like better radiances, but you also get them to be instant, and like radiances used to be our biggest mana eater, and right now you simply use less mana when you're pressing them when they proc. And not only that, but you also get longer atonement duration. So in the periods where you have like a long rot damage, such as there's quite a few fights like this. For example, the second boss in Vortex Pinnacle, or third boss in Pulse of Infusion, Magmatusk, no, was it no, not Magmatusk, Magmatusk, or whatever his name is, the first boss. Well, rather third boss, yeah, Magmatusk. It's actually in this dungeon, yeah, I forgot. I forgot I'm commenting on Neltharus. I was thinking like what all dungeons exist, and yeah, so basically Magmatusk is a good example of that. When he does his AoE burn, it's great to have that longer atonement duration so you can heal more. And just stuff like that, it's pretty nice, it's pretty good. And you can also be like smart with it, you can use it in so many different ways. You can like throw one randomly before start of the pack and just have like atonements on everyone and start healing through your damage. You can save your charges if you are anticipating like a certain spike of AoE damage and then press it. Then I like to pool my charges personally and not like use them willy-nilly when there isn't need to use them. Keep in mind, this was one of the first keys I've successfully done with this 4 set. You know, after that I've done plenty more, which I will be uploading. But it is beautiful. It's really such a good set that it makes our specs so much more fun. And honestly, I gotta say, guys, this might be like my favorite external power that I have encountered yet since the days of Shadowlands. And yes, I'm saying that even though legendaries existed, like this 4 set genuinely, for priest at least, feels better than anything that Blizzard has come up with, even with legendaries. It is just so good. It's so good, guys. Like even 2-piece is useful. 2-piece is like, it's already like an increase enough to just be like, oh cool, like this is useful to me. 4 set just is like cherry on top. And here I was trying to bait the wall. Honestly, in PoGs, I don't even know what the strat for this boss is. I guess just pump damage and healing and pray. I hated how people are usually positioned on this boss. But basically, what you have to worry about on this one is, I mean, it's a hard boss. I'm just gonna say it. It might be one of the harder bosses to heal. This AoE dot is just incredibly painful. And at certain times you have to move, and then when people start bleeding out, what happens usually is he will also be selecting somebody for lava spray. It just hurts quite a bit. I mean, this is a fortified week, so it doesn't really hurt as much, but you will see now when he gets a little bit more charges. Obviously, if God forbid he casts the AoE while he's in fire, I mean, you can kind of say goodbye to the key to everybody. But yeah, basically for us, like, and you can see here, like, even if properly baited, like, the thing that makes this difficult is the fact that you might have to move at certain point and stuff, and then people will drop, and it's just like really difficult. This is why you need your, this is where foresight again comes in handy, and this is why you need to be like smart with your charges. Don't just like, I feel like one big mistake that I make, and you know, perhaps people can learn from this and kind of not make the same mistake, is see, like here nobody was touched by my radiances, so they're just not getting atonement healing. But I want to say, like, one big mistake that I've been making personally, and that you shouldn't be making, is whenever there's AoE damage, like, don't be silly little goofball and just press both your radiance charges, because I tend to find that those usually overheal, and then you're left dry for like 15 seconds, right? That is not good, guys. That's a recipe for disaster. So in ideal world, you want to kind of have that harsh discipline proc ready, right? So for your big penance and your Shadow Covenant, and then what you want to do is, like, you want to use Radiance for like the first instance of damage. And this is like our biggest weakness, honestly, as discipline priests. When people take like unexpected damage, that kind of comes like as like one big nuke. But yeah, let me get back to my point, because I feel like this is very important. I think this is why a lot of people struggle with this. Your resource management, like, we are not like other healers. Like most other healers, their AoE healing is not resource bound to anything except for mana, and they can just mindlessly spam things until they top people up. Of course, I'm not saying this to kind of like diminish anybody else's like performance or anything. I know that every spec and every class has their optimizations, and they're all difficult to play in their own way. I'm not trying to be like toxic and be like discard all other healers easy, but this is unique in the regard where your healing spells also like have like charges and stuff, where Radiance is like our only AoE heal pretty much, and it only has 2 charges, so you really cannot get caught with pants down. You need to be able to Radiance when you need to Radiance. This is how this currently is. Radiance used to be just an atonement spreader. It's not anymore. It's your most powerful AoE heal, and now it's even stronger with the Foresight. So you really want to be smart with it. I would almost say being even more conservative with it, because not because you want to, but because in case you need to press it, you have to be able to press it, because our atonements do not heal enough to top people up versus like bursty damage that is followed up by rot damage. You need to be able to kind of like
Eruptive Crush.
Layer out your spells. So the best way to accomplish this is prematurely, before damage even begins, casting. If you know there's like sequences of AoE damage, your ideal casts are something like this. So you will be first covering people with Rupture. That is weak, by the way. Rupture right now is really not that great. It is pretty mid, and frankly you don't even have to use it that much. It is mostly like preemptively like blocking a portion of damage where you feel like somebody might die, or you can use it to farm back your pain subs. But other than that, it really is not that big of a absorb anymore, unfortunately, since it's like one of the staples of the spec. But unfortunately it's not really that impressive anymore. And then secondly, what you want to do is when the first tick happens, you want to be able to counter it instantly with the first radiance, or ideally the instant radiance if you have the proc ready. That's why I said pull them, keep them, don't waste them all the time. Sometimes it's worth to keep them if you don't need them, you know, don't just cast them willy-nilly. Somebody used chain there, I believe, by the way. Somebody tried to meme the ads with the chain and they killed us. I could be wrong, but yeah, there's these burning chains that when they explode, they deal damage in like a radius. And apparently you can use them against the mobs, but I don't think a lot of people know how to. And then if people don't know, then we die. And then second wave of damage you should be covering. So after you cast the radiance, you should be schisming, Shadow Word, Covenant, and then casting your buffed up penance into all that good Twilight Equilibrium rotation, whatever that might be for you at the moment. I mean, it all depends. Is there anything in the execution range? Then you will be using Shadow Word that. If there isn't, then you will be rotating between your, you know, Purge the Wickeds and Mind Blasts and your Solaces, which is one of the reasons why we picked up Solace. If there's an AoE situation, you can use Holy Nova, especially if you have it buffed with the Rhapsody talent, which is a great talent, by the way. Get it if you can. You know, in some keys you will need more utility, so you might not be able to get it, but it is a good talent in AoE situations and you should utilize it. It's pretty strong. I quite like it. It's not like a game changer or anything, but it's a nice little increase in AoE damage. And then again, the second wave of damage you will be covering again with another Radiance, followed up by more like DPS spells. It all depends like how quickly after that more damage comes, but here you will see like one example of how I will be covering this. I hope I did it properly in this key. I mean, you know, I'm no machine. I'm not a perfect player either. I make mistakes. So let's see how I did it here. So I've applied Rapture prematurely, and that absorbed fully that first portion of damage, and then you see Halo, Smite, Mind Blast, Shadow Covenant was launched, and then the buffed up Black Penance, and then another Radiance, and everybody stopped. Healthy, beautiful. We did around 100k HPS there during that period, and we also dealt damage to the boss. Beautiful. That's how it's done. Pretty much. I could have been better, of course. I think I messed up a little bit, like the sequence of the spells there. I think I casted so like Penance, Dark Penance buffed by Skov, which is Shadow Covenant, is incredibly powerful, guys, and you should definitely make sure you're casting that one with buffed Twilight Equilibrium. It makes a ton of difference. I know it's sometimes easy to not, but it is very important. I also want to talk about one more very important interaction. Let's just follow what's happening with the boss, and then I'll talk about it in a second. And there we go, the boss is dead. Beautiful. See, no problem, no biggie. These new Radiances really do a lot of work, and they do the hard carrying on bosses like this. Alright, so guys, and this is extremely important, by the way. This will make like almost like 20% of the not 20%, but like 10% difference in your damage, which is quite sustainable or quite big if you're like thinking about improving yourself as a player. So a lot of people seem to not know this, but Purge the Wicked is actually buffed by Twilight Equilibrium. And not only that, but Purge the Wicked, when you spread it, is also buffed with Twilight Equilibrium if you're spreading the buffed one. So what you should be doing is you will always be casting either Schism or Mind Blast into Shadow Word Pain, and then you can press Shadow Covenant to either get the Dark Penance and then spread it, or you can do another Mind Blast and then another Penance to spread it. Just make sure that your Shadow Word Pain is buffed by Twilight Equilibrium. That is very important, since when you spread it with the Penance, it will also be buffed, and then you will have like stronger dots, which will in result also translate into way more healing. So this is something that you can work on optimizing. It is not always easy to get those perfect casts. It's still better to have any sort of Shadow Word Pain on targets rather than perfect ones, but you know, if you can make them perfect, you should. And also I want to say something as well, which is very important. When you cast buffed Shadow Word Pain on a target, and let's say you want to renew it, so it has like 10 seconds, and you cast it again, but this time it's not buffed by Twilight Equilibrium. Now it will get overwritten by the weaker one, so you're actually not like you're kind of gimping yourself, you're shooting yourself in the foot. So that's why you should, like, it's hard to track this. Obviously you don't know now which one of these targets have like the buffed one and which one are susceptible to just any, right? Like, it's hard to track, so just keep that in mind. You know, it's something to optimize when there's not much healing to be done and stuff. More damage definitely helps time keys. And you know, whether you do 35k or 45k DPS does actually kind of matter. So it's just something to optimize, and this can currently have quite a bit of damage with this build. This is not a new build, by the way. This is basically end of season 1 build. It is not the build with Mindbender, guys. This is the build that goes left and grabs all the juicy stuff from the tree, such as let me just double check the name. But basically you go into the left part of the tree and you're grabbing a Train of Thought, you're grabbing Blaze of Light, and you're grabbing a Wheel and Woe. So basically your Penance Bolts will be buffing up your next Smite or Solace and or Absorb of your Power Word Shield, and it's pretty strong. It's not something you should play too much around, but it is something that can again prove like not prove, but like provide further optimization for the for your damage and or your absorb. I mean, if you decide to consume shields off of the procs. And then this guy, I mean, this guy's kind of tricky. You have to be ready here to heal. He will do this like AoE circles, which hit quite hard, and then he will start like these guys will be throwing lava all the time. Of course, like if you decide to do this pull, I mean, I'm saying like this is a pull that's set in stone. You can completely like not pull any of this, but if you do decide to pull this, like it will look something like this.
Scorching Fusillade.
And it can be kind of tricky sometimes, so just be mindful that these packs are not too easy to play around, and you do have to be careful. This is again where the insta charge radiance has come in handy. I mean, if anybody here was to take like a portion of damage, I would be able to heal them up much more easy. And see, look at that, like the beautiful, like holy, that's good. Like not holy, I'm playing this. Haha, good one. I'm not paid enough to be funny, but yeah, basically that's how it goes, guys. It's this new force set is pretty insane. It's pretty strong. I love to see it. I feel like most Discipline Priest sets lately have not been that great, so it's really not. It's really fun to see that we had one that's good recently. And again, more trash. I mean, really, there's not much to say here. You know, once again, just spreading the dots, paying attention that your dots are buffed. Also, I forgot to turn on the plugin that tracks my global cities in this key, so apologies for that. Usually I will have it on the right side, right above the details. Pretty cozy. Pretty cozy script. It's actually part of the details that I didn't know for so long. You can just turn it on and it tracks exactly what you casted on who you casted. You can even track like exactly how much damage it does. It's pretty neat. And you're now like basically just clearing percent around the boss. I'll be honest, guys, this trash is not easy. A lot of it is actually pretty fucking vicious. There's some guys that do an insane amount of AoE down here. I don't know exactly what they're called. I think it's... Wait, let me... If I look down, I think I can tell you the name. It's the ones like all the way to the wall ahead of us. Like when you jump down and face the boss, and if you just keep walking forward, well, towards the like opposite wall. They're pretty hard to heal. I feel like, at least, I mean, I healed them week 1. Luckily nobody has ever pulled them on Fortified week, and they were absolutely crazy. They were hitting like a truck, and they were also hitting an AoE. It was pretty much impossible to heal. I remember I did like 150k HPS sometime and people still died on Tyrannical week, by the way. I always wonder with these things, right? Like, I mean, I'm still learning, same as everybody else. I've always wondered, like, if those things are overtuned, or if we are undergeared, or if it's just like a case of people not really interrupting properly. Because a lot of times, like, see, the thing in this keys is, I don't know if you guys ever watched like those like pro groups and stuff, but man, sometimes it feels like their healer doesn't even have to be there most of the time, and that's because like they're so good at like stopping any sort of incoming damage. They only really take damage from like the things that you absolutely have to take damage from, and it's kind of like it's cool to see, but it's also frustrating, right? Because you know, like, you will almost never get to play with groups like that, and usually from the very first 2-3 packs you can tell like how the group is. Like, if everybody starts taking crazy amounts of damage and stuff, I just know I'm not gonna be able to play the video game. I'm just gonna be healing all the time. But every now and then you'll get like these cool groups where everybody knows exactly what they do, and you love to see it. And for some reason we decided to last this boss, which I'm completely okay with. I mean, this boss is quite annoying to heal, so I'm not really complaining, but I do feel like on Fortified weeks it's usually better to last packs. I don't know. It all depends how it lines up. I guess early in the seasons people are more afraid of bosses, so they decide to... Yeah. And see how here I've let atonements completely carry me. See how I'm pulling my radiance charge, I'm not using it. So I did that pretty good. And here you shouldn't stand this close to people. I also want to say, like, I think the thing got bugged. Okay, that is pretty weird. I don't know what happened there.
Storm. Might of the Forge.
Oh, he invised or something. Oh wow, I didn't even know you can do that. And here, see, I wasn't really ready for that damage. That's why I had to like use my radiance charges. And that's why these things are absolutely great, right? And there I popped the clutch pot, actually. That was like, without that I would have been dead. And also great heal from the Pala tank. Absolutely beautiful.
Forge Storm.
And then again, I mean, he gets ready for the AoE. I also pop Fade here to get rid of the Entangling, which is good because it also gives me damage reduction. Also, one more thing to keep in mind here, guys, is yeah, it's Entangling. It's a new affix. I didn't really talk about it much because I was so excited for the 4 set. You can simply nullify Entangling completely just by having Phantasm talent. It's very easy to grab because it lines up with like the right side of your class tree, and it's pretty much free to grab. You don't really have to give up much for it. Oh, there we go. So this guy just explained how he did it, so I didn't know that. That's actually really cool. So one round of AoEs can be skipped if somebody like somehow de-targets him. So hunters can do this, mages, anybody who's night elf, rogues. Okay, pretty cool, pretty cool. That's actually really nice. I didn't even know that. Awesome. And okay, guys, about these guys, I really do want to kind of like say that these guys are not to be underestimated. So basically
slash.
these blazing
Volcanic
slashes
guard.
hit tank like a truck. So what you
Tempest.
really need to be careful
Volcanic
here.
guard. Blazing
Pay
slash.
attention to your tank. You know what this reminds me of? If you guys
Blazing
remember Azure Vault last season, you know, right before the second boss,
Blazing slash.
there was those ice enemies and they had like ice slash or whatever it was called. That thing hurt like a truck. It was an actual tank buster. There's not a lot of tank busters in this game, but that one was
Blazing
actually
slash.
just like destroying tanks.
Blazing
And
slash.
it was just really important to pay attention to your tanks there. And same here, so just pay attention to your tanks here. These guys will hurt. They're not as strong as those guys in the Azure Vault were, but they do hurt and you should be careful.
Blazing slash.
You can see here, like, tank is completely dry, so I give him pain sub. I mean, he did use Argent Defender, but a little bit too late in my opinion.
Blazing slash. Molten army. Volcanic guard. Blazing slash.
And then here again, guys, again, like with the
Slash.
Apex Blazewing and these Wardens. And there you go, I said it, I said it, I did say it. So Tank Buster, guys, Tank Buster, it really hurts.
Blazing slash.
Tank needs to have like something there. You either need to have a pain sub for him, or he needs to have their defensive up. And I mean, Paladins are notorious for this. Paladins, they do not have like a lot of passive mitigation. They usually kind of like heal themselves, and that's why they scale so good with haste and stuff, but mastery as well, I think.
Blazing slash.
But they are prone to kind of like just getting deleted, similar to DK actually, in a very different way. Like, it's completely different concept, but similarly to that. So you really need to pay attention to them. And I'll show you one trick that I did here. Like, I don't know if you noticed, but that barrier, that was for tank. It wasn't for any of us. That was for tank. And don't forget that you can, during fortified weeks, especially if it's fortified plus bolstering, that is completely fine to do. Sure, why not? Like, if you know you're not gonna need barrier, and I know that for the last boss I'm not gonna need barrier. First of all, because it's fortified. Second of all, because there's no point where we will be perfectly stacked for the damage mitigation. I just know that I will not need barriers, so it's better to give tank that 25% reduction, because I know it will help him stay alive, rather than just like save it for some obscure scenario that's probably never gonna happen. So just something to keep in mind, guys. Barrier can be used as like a tank defensive as well. Love the music here though. And here, guys, public service announcements, because I also didn't know this for quite some time. You can actually you can cast these items while moving. I know, it's crazy. I also didn't know that for quite some time. So please, there's no excuse not to do it.
Dragon's kill.
Obviously, as a healer, your priority is to heal here, and your DPS can handle this. Tank can even solo this if he's good. But a lot of the times, it's completely fine to use this. And see there, like I used it, it's pretty free. So there's a few things you need to do here as a healer. First of all, you can save your burst if you want for this plus 100% DPS increase, if you want to be like super smart. But as this, we kind of need a bursty part for when people are taking damage, so I use it on shield. So that's first of all. Second of all, always pre-pick the item and try to get the one where like DPS isn't getting, so because you don't want them to lose too much DPS by moving. So just grab like the furthest away one. Third, you want to be healing Molten Gold. So Molten Gold hits pretty hard. It's a really nasty dot. And if you don't have classes that can remove it, make sure you're healing that, especially on tyrannical weeks. That will hurt a lot.
Magma shield.
So just be careful. And there you see like another instant radiance and how much work he does. It's absolutely beautiful. You'll love to see it. Here again, we're rotating our, you know, holy and shadow spells. Here I'm getting the golden barrier,
The dragon's
or
breath.
molten gold, sorry, and I'm putting the golden barrier to reduce my damage and tank's damage. That's some value on that spell. Sheesh. Who is this guy? And I'm a little bit late here,
Burning pursuit.
but I did go to grab the item, and this guy was coming in late, so I'm gonna fear him. I think I tried to fear him. I don't know what I tried. Oh no, I entangled him. All right, cool. And yeah, that's it. That's the key, guys. That's our 20 Neltharus done. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for supporting the channel. I hope the audio is fixed. Sorry for the last video. Audio was completely scuffed. Much love. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. I appreciate all the feedback and appreciate your support, guys. Good luck in your keys. Once again, let me know what you think about the videos and hope to see you in the next video. Much love, guys. Bye bye.